Okay, I've seen this question. Amato, is that how I think that's how I say your name. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm really sorry in the chat. You said is Castle starting? You are not the only person that's asked me that question. I think I don't know if someone asked me on this thread or someone asked me on Twitter. It might have been on Twitter. I don't know if it was on. Yeah, I don't think it was on this thread. Yeah, I think no. I don't think he starts. I feel like he would have started if it weren't for getting Chris Paul, But since we got Chris Paul, there's no way that he starts, right? I think it's even been known, or Chris Paul has said. Let's see, wants to start. I think Chris Paul said he wants to start. Here it is. Paul is expected to start next season for the Spurs. Paul can literally put Wembanyama in position, give him easier looks. All right, so we know Chris Paul is starting. That's easy, right? Like everyone knows Chris Paul is starting. But also, we also know that Devin Vassell will start. Like there's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. And while it hasn't been said, I will be very confused if the Spurs didn't start Harrison Barnes, because he's the exact position that we need. Now, the thing is, while Stephon Castle is versatile enough to play 1 to 3, like he's that versatile with his size and with the way that he plays, he can basically play any position from 1 to 3. I don't necessarily think that that's what the Spurs will do or what they'll be going for, because you're going to want Stephon Castle to play in that point guard position as much as possible. I think my only question, and I think he fits because of the type of player he is. He fits with almost any type of player that you put on the team. But I guess my question would be, how will the Spurs utilize Trey Jones? But as far as Castle is concerned, no. I don't think that he starts. Now, before we got Harrison Barnes, I thought that, yes, I thought inevitably he would start at the 3, right? And that would be totally fine. I didn't think that, Spurs probably would have started with Julian Champagnie initially, but I thought that he was going to move into that spot pretty quickly. But yeah, now that Harrison Barnes is here, I think our starting lineup is pretty obvious, right? You're gonna have Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, and by the way, this is a really good starting 5, mind you. This is actually a genuinely good starting 5. Like I think this is a competitive starting 5. But Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sohan, and Wimpy. Like, oh, what'd you say? Hold on. I missed it. I missed something. Then what about Trey Jones? That's what I'm saying. Because I promise you Pop ain't DMPing Trey. The good thing about Trey Jones, well, not Trey Jones, sorry. The good thing about Stephon Castle is, like I said, he can fit with anybody. And Trey Jones has also done, let me say this as well, okay? Because I probably need to put this out there. So Trey Jones has done a good job this past season of improving his 3-point percentage and being a pretty okay catch and shooter from 3. And that was something I was not expecting at all, right? He went from 28.5% to 33.5%. You can see his free throw percentage has always been pretty doggone good. But I think that that's really promising as well. And keep in mind, Trey Jones is not like a scrub on the defensive end of the ball either. Like the only thing that holds him back is his size. But as far as just fundamental defense, he's a pretty good defender. So I'm not really worried about Trey Jones being on the court with Stephon Castle at the same time. And Castle has already shown with UConn that he can do both. He can be a starting, not starting point. He can, but he can be a primary ball handler, or he can just be someone in the roster that's taking advantage of cutting angles and taking advantage of the defense and being in the right place and everything like that. Like he could just be a fine rotational player. He has a very high floor and a very high ceiling. And if the Spurs want to just spend this season with Trey Jones being the main point guard off the bench, Chris Paul teaching Stephon Castle the ropes, and at times he can run point guard. He's going to be fine. He's the perfect type of player that you want at that position. Those combo guards, like he's perfect. He can basically do anything the Spurs need of him. I'm not really worried about it. Him next to Trey Jones is not a mismatch. It's not a problem. Yeah. Now, I will say this: if the Spurs were to go into this draft and just got a pure point guard, like early on in the draft, and they were like, oh, we're just gonna go with a pure point guard, then I think we would have some problems. I think we would have a few problems. But yeah, Trey Jones and Stephon Castle play well off of each other. I'm not worried about it. What's up? Okay, question. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. I have no idea what you even mean by that. Sohan can play 4, Castle can't. All right, that seems like a whole nother topic. But anyways, Stephon Castle starting, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't even think it's a good idea when you have Harrison Barnes. Like, I think that's just a better starting lineup with Castle coming off the bench at this point. It's not a problem, though. I mean, let's be real. Chris Paul is probably going to be gone at the end of the season. Maybe even Harrison Barnes. The Spurs might trade both of them before the trade deadline. So Chris Paul can go to a winner. But Chris Paul has also been on record saying that he wants to get minutes. Like, that's his main thing is I want to play. I want to get minutes. So, who knows?